Hey guys, welcome back to another book opening video. This one is quite a big one, as you can tell. Sorry, I have lost my voice a bit at the moment, so I'm a bit croaky. So let's get this open. Fail. Double fail. So, here we have, wrapped up, Game of Thrones, the costumes. And before I remove this packaging, look how thick that book is. This is a really heavy book, and it is a hardback. So let me get this open. Okay, so here we have it unwrapped. Show you the cover and the back. Two well-known costumes that you'll recognise straight away, I think, if you're a fan of Game of Thrones. So I'm just going to get straight into this and preview what I can on camera. As mentioned, it's a pretty big book, so I don't know how much of it I will realistically be able to show. But we'll try get through some of it. I'm not really sure what to expect in this one, to be honest, but I have a feeling it's going to be a good one. So this book actually came out a couple of days ago alongside an art of Game of Thrones book and also a photography of Game of Thrones, or photos of Game of Thrones. I have ordered all three, but for some reason the others didn't arrive as quickly. So this is the only one I've got so far, the costume one. I had a quick look at the reviews on Amazon whilst I was waiting for these to arrive, and it looks like the costume and the photograph one have got really good reviews overall, whereas the Art of Game of Thrones book had slightly different reviews, which I'll get into in another video when I'm actually reviewing it, so that I can actually see for myself whether it's true or not. So this book obviously has a lot of photographs in as well from the series, and more detailed photos of the costumes themselves, and the sketches, of course, as you've probably already noticed. So I would imagine there's going to be quite a lot of different design ideas. I'm not sure whether it will be just ones that have made it into the show, or whether there will be some things that fans such as myself have never actually seen. I should probably point out as well, before I do get too far, seeing as it does have photos like this, there might be spoilers in this book if you've not watched all of the series of Game of Thrones. I don't really know yet, but I would rather say that and not get hate in the comments. So if you're worried about spoilers, maybe don't watch this video. And there is a lot of characters in Game of Thrones, so it's no wonder that this is such a big book. I don't know if it's going to go into pretty much every character we've seen in the series, or if it's just the main ones, but it does look quite detailed. Obviously there's little bits of text to go along with it as well. I'm viewing this on camera for the first time, so seeing it now is, you know, the first time I've seen it. I can't properly review the book or anything like that until afterwards. So this video is more of a preview, or a quick look. But I wanted to make, oh look, I forget what you call it, the bookmark type bits. The ribbon. I'm skipping a lot of pages here, but that's pretty cool. It's quite a fancy book. It's hardback, as already mentioned, and with this in, it's quite a nice touch. Not many books I buy actually have that. I'll have a look in a second to see how many pages are actually in it as well. And I've gone off topic and forgotten what I was actually about to say. But it looks like it is costumes, but it's also, obviously that includes armour, which those of you who know my videos know that that's probably what I am hoping to see the most of in it. That's the kind of thing I like. So I would class it as, it is a fantasy book. It is, you know, Game of Thrones is obviously fantasy, dragons, as most people already know, but it's approached in quite a realistic style. So I think the costumes will be all, you know, they're going to be realistic costumes. It's something that could be worn in real life. It's not going to be like, you know, Final Fantasy weapons and armour where they're like 3 times the size of someone, which I don't mind, but some people are not happy with that kind of thing. I'm going to start skipping some of these pages a little bit quicker because there really is a lot. In fact, there is around about 440 pages I can see there. This is page 120. So the reason I bought this book was I thought it might be quite good, not only for reference, and because, you know, I am a huge fan of Game of Thrones. Oh, sorry, in fact, I'm just going to interrupt myself. It is ordered. I didn't even sort of read the contents to see the order of it, but it looks like the families are organised, the houses, which I should probably have picked up on just from the fact that so many Stark costumes had been shown then. That's pretty cool. Some pages fold out. It's a well designed, a nicely designed book. Really high quality photos as well. Cersei definitely has some quite cool costumes. But anyway, yeah, the reason I bought this book, I am a massive Game of Thrones fan. But I thought it would be pretty cool in terms of art, having ideas or coming up with ideas, designing armours, designing costumes, and help with studies and things like that. You could argue that maybe drapery as well, you could maybe learn drapery from it. Probably more so from photos of people wearing it as opposed to the outfit on a mannequin or on its own. But you never know, there will be things of value to learn from this. But everybody buys these books for different reasons. And for those same reasons, the photos of Game of Thrones books should probably be quite handy for me. So who else would like these books? Well, as already mentioned, any fans of Game of Thrones will probably like these. Especially people that like to collect things, especially books, obviously. And also, maybe like costume designers, or, you know, if you do maybe even cosplay and things like that. I don't really know much about that, but I would imagine that you can get some pretty good tips from this. Or if you're trying to actually design one of these costumes or make one of these costumes, this is probably going to be your most detailed reference. But I am just speculating at this point. Making this would be pretty difficult. I don't actually remember seeing him in armour in the Game of Thrones series, so to me that's new, but I could just be forgetting that. Feel free to remind me in the comments if I am just forgetting that. It's actually been quite a while since I've watched Game of Thrones now. And I am of course hoping that my lighting is not too bright. I'm also using my camera on autofocus this time. So hopefully it's not going to screw me over and I'm going to find that everything's completely out of focus. I'm thinking the Kingsguard armor is probably one of the coolest in Game of Thrones. These sketches are really nice as well. Some of the sketches in the drawings are not like overly detailed. I don't have a complete understanding of costume design, but from my understanding it's, you know, it's more to get a concept, an idea to work from, as opposed to being overly detailed. For example, the faces and everything are not my cup of tea, but I can still appreciate it. So we've moved on to some other houses here. I am skipping quite a few pages at a time, and I'm still only 3/4 of the way through the book, so I'm speeding up a little bit. No idea how long I've made this video. So it's probably going to get to some more sort of exotic costumes with these houses. Exotic, is that the right word? I'm not sure. So I thought I'd make a video for this book because they are quite expensive books. Oh dear, mine has a little bit of folding going on here. I don't know how that's happened. They are quite expensive books, especially if you're buying all three. So sometimes it's nice to be able to have a quick look inside them before splashing out, especially if you're worried that, you know, you're going to buy it and it's not what you wanted. It's a lot of money to lose, really. I would recommend buying it though if you are a fan, assuming you have the money to spare, of course. But yeah, hopefully this will help some of you guys if you're unsure whether to spend your money on it or not. And for those of you who are interested, I will do some videos in the same way for the Art of Game of Thrones book and the photographs of Game of Thrones. Although, as mentioned, you could argue this has an awful lot of photographs from Game of Thrones in it. I'm going to start skipping through even more now. It looks like it covers all series as well. It's not like it's dedicated to just the final series or first series or anything like that. It's got a bit of everything, which you would obviously hope for. Right, I am going to leave it at that because I'm worried that this video is going to get on quite long just because of how big a book it is. So I'm closing this up. It looks like you've got to be quite careful with this because of the cover. It is pulling it a little bit, so it's hard to keep quite straight without getting folds in and things like that. I'll neaten that up a little bit off camera. So there is a quick look at the Game of Thrones The Costumes book. So as always, I hope you found the video useful. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and be sure to leave me a comment below. Let me know what books you guys are reading. Let me know what books you guys want to see me review in the future. And please do subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, everyone.